I'm Huon Hooke, and this is The Real Review. The wine we're tasting today is Mitchell McNicol Riesling 2010 from the Clare Valley. So the backstory of Mitchell's winery in the Clare Valley is that the current heads of the family, Andrew and Jane Mitchell, have been very key players in the wine industry of the Clare Valley for a long time, and great advocates of the Riesling grape. You couldn't find greater advocates. Their children are now active in the business, so they're taking it a bit easier now. The places, the vineyard and the winery, are based just west of Seven Hill in the Skilligalee Valley, which is a side valley of the Clare Valley. And the McNicol brand, which is this interesting greyish-green label, sits off to one side of the main Mitchell brand, and the wines, both red and white, are released with extra bottle age, so you can see what these wines do with age. You know, so many wines are released too young these days that it's a great privilege to be able to taste that sort of wine with some age on it, which we're going to do in a moment. Why the name McNicol? It's because Andrew Mitchell's father, his name was McNicol Mitchell, Peter McNicol Mitchell in fact. And he arrived in the Clare Valley specifically with the intention of growing grapes and making wine in 1949. The same year I think that Andrew was born. And so they've released this label in memory and in tribute to Andrew's father, Peter. This wine was released last year when it was 10 years of age, so it ticked over 10 years last year, and it's now about to come to its 11th birthday. Great example of how Clare Riesling ages, especially when it's made in this fuller, riper style. This wine is quite a ripe wine. It's 13.7% alcohol, which is probably at the high end of, it is definitely very much at the high end of Clare Valley Riesling alcohol. But as we'll discover, you don't actually notice that. So how does this Mitchell McNicol Riesling taste? First thing, when you pour it, you notice the colour. Deep golden yellow, beautiful, bright, almost a buttercup yellow colour. And when even before you raise it to your nose, you can smell it. It has an incredible bouquet. Absolutely mind-boggling bouquet of buttered toast. It reminds me of breakfast time when you've buttered your toast and slathered it with lime or grapefruit marmalade. That's the kind of aroma you get out of this wine. It's very complex and very attractive. It really makes you want to drink it. Wow, that is one hell of a mouthful of wine. It's full-bodied and it's rich. And those are words that you don't often use about Riesling, at least not the classic Clare style of dry Riesling. In fact, it's not totally dry, that wine, I don't think. But at its age, whatever sweetness is in there is mellowed into the wine so beautifully, you barely notice it. You do notice the richness of the wine. That's what it's all about. It has a lot of backbone as well. There's a bit of tannin, a bit of phenolics retained there, which contributes to this very long aftertaste. The wine has a beautifully clean, dry, resonating aftertaste. That is a monumental Riesling. And I would say that's fully mature now, but it will last for a few more years. I don't think it's going to get any better than that. 10 years, 11 years is really, as good as Clare Valley Riesling normally gets. Occasionally there's a very cold year like 2002 when the wines are so tight and delicate they'll age for at least 15 and more years. But that, I think, is right in the perfect drinking window now, if you like mature Riesling, and I love mature Riesling. So how do we rate this wine? We rated it 96 out of 100, which is a very high score indeed. It's a big, strong gold ribbon score, maybe even a trophy score. And it ranked number 2 out of 47 2010 vintage Rieslings from the Clare Valley. That's a lot of Rieslings, 47, and it came in at number 2. So that's very much a top ranked rating. And we've said drink it now to now, basically. But another couple of years, no problem. Up to 5 years, I'd say. So what food would you serve with a wine like that? You wouldn't serve the same food as you would for a delicate young wine from, say, the 2020 vintage. A very different wine at this age, and therefore it goes with different food. So we always ask the winemakers what they would recommend with their food. And winemaker at Mitchell's, Simon Pringle, has recommended suckling pig. I'd imagine he's talking about roast suckling pig, or pig on the spit kind of thing. Roasted, lots of flavour there, lots of fat, lots of richness, and it's just a great example of how different wines of different ages go with different foods. When it was very young, you might have said, oh, I'll just serve that with oysters or the delicate piece of white-fleshed fish. But now that it's nearly 11 years old, it's going to go with food with much stronger, richer flavour. I think that's an inspired choice, Simon Pringle. Good health to you.